450MT is a great bike, but the suspension, well, it can be so much better. In this video, I will go through the suspension setup, from free adjustments to complete rebuild of the suspension with long travel, cartridge and shock. But first, let's see how the suspension works. Okay, here's what we are going to cover today. Before we talk upgrades, we need to understand what the stock suspension on the 450MT is actually doing. The first step is to setting your sag, static sag and rider sag. I'm not going into the full measuring process here, because the video I'm linking to explains it perfectly. But the idea is simple. Sag shows how much the bike settles under its own weight and under your weight. Getting these numbers right is the easiest free upgrade you can do. For adventure bikes like the 450MT, a good baseline is static sag around 10 to 15% of the total travel and rider sag around 25 to 30%. With the suspension travel on this bike, that means roughly 20 to 30 millimeters of static sag and about 50 to 65 millimeters of rider sag. To adjust your sag, you only need a couple of basic tools. For the rear shock, CFMOTO includes a preload wrench under the seat. For the front, you can adjust the preload collars with a 14mm wrench. The 450MT uses progressive front springs. The first part is very soft and it gets firmer the more it compresses. And honestly, the first part is so soft that you use most of it just by sitting on the bike, which is great if your main sport is static sitting. Preload changes how high or low the bike sits in the suspension. Compression controls how fast the suspension goes down. Plus slows the oil flow. Firmer, less dive. Minus opens the flow, softer but easier to bottom out. Rebound controls how fast the suspension comes back up. Plus slows the return. More stability but can pack down. Minus speeds it up. More lively but can get bouncy. Simple rules. Plus on compression, harder to push down. Plus on rebound, slower coming back up. For road riding and light off-road, the stock suspension is comfortable and predictable. It handles small bumps well and works fine for new riders or anyone staying on smoother terrain. But when you push the bike harder, the limit shows up quickly. The front gets very soft in the first part of the travel and rebounds slowly. The rear shock is firmer, so the bike feels a bit unbalanced. Soft in the front, stiff in the back. In rough terrain, the suspension can feel harsh and you can lose traction. So the stock setup is fine for casual riding, but it reaches its limits fast off-road. Now, let's get through every upgrade option, from free adjustments to complete suspension replacement. First, free adjustments. Set your sag, adjust your preload and tune compression and rebound. It costs nothing and improves the balance and the predictability. This is the only upgrade that is completely free. Which is rare in the motorcycle world. Usually the only free thing is bad advice. Springs and revalve. New springs matched to your weight balance the bike properly. And the revalve controls how suspension moves. Smoother small bumps, stronger mid-stroke and less harshness. A suspension shop can tune this for your weight and riding style. Springs plus a revalve is the best value option. 3. New cartridge, new shock. The last option is replacing the internal fork system with a full cartridge and install a proper rear shock. This gives the biggest performance step, more control, more stability, better damping in rough terrain. There are a lot of upgrade options, and don't worry, it's totally normal to start with the cheap one and end up with the most expensive one. It happens to all of us. Replacing the internals with a new cartridge and installing the new shock gives the biggest overall improvement. A cartridge brings better oil flow, better valves, and precise external adjusters, which makes the front end much more stable and predictable. A proper rear shock adds stronger damping, better heat stability, and consistent performance even in long, rough sections. Together, they transform the way the 450 handles. When you're upgrading, you can also choose longer suspension travel, usually 25 to 30 millimeters more. More travel means more impact absorption, better comfort in rough terrain, stronger support on big hits, more ground clearance and more stability. The downside are taller seat height, slightly slower steering, and the need of correct springs and valving. If you choose longer travel, the fork legs sit higher, so the original fork guards become too short. Throttle Punk have 450MT fork mud guards, which provide additional protection for the fork legs. And because the bike sits higher, the side stand may also need to be replaced with a longer one. Rally Raid Products has a steel fabricated side stand that replaces the original one. When I started looking at suspension upgrades, these were the main brands I compared, all with different solutions and price levels. Andreani makes cartridge kits only, with 200 or 233 millimeters of travel. They are an Italian company known for performance valving and adjustment damping. No rear shock option for the 450MT. Tractive suspension. Tractive offers both cartridge and shocks with 200 or around 225 millimeters of travel. They are a Dutch manufacturer focused on high-end adventure and rally suspension, known for strong mid-stroke support and very consistent damping. TFX also offers complete fork and shock packages, again with 200 or 225 millimeters of travel. They focus on adjustable ADV kits designed to improve control and off-road performance. I know that some of the CFMOTO teams use TFX on their bikes for Romania's 2025. Nitron is a UK brand offering cartridge and shocks as well. They are popular for their precise damping and wide adjustability and well known in both sport and ADV segments. And then there's Tommy Suspension, who rebuild the original fork and shock internals instead of replacing them. They increase the travel to around 230 millimeters and revalve both internals for better performance. It's a custom long travel solution using your stock components. I choose an Andreani cartridge and a TFX shock. I heard great feedback. Andreani can be serviced in Sweden, and the Black Friday price made the decision even easier. For the rear, I compared Nitron, TFX and Tractive. Nitron had import fees from the UK. Tractive's top shocks were a bit too expensive, so I went with TFX top model. Both with long travel option, a big step forward without destroying the wallet. You need a 15mm socket end wrench for the shock bolts and an 18mm for the linkage. The upper bolt can be reached through an opening in the side panel. A magnetic tool helps a lot when reinstalling it. Once the bolt is in place, use a 15mm socket with an extension to tighten it properly. You can install the cartridge yourself, but you need special tools. And bleeding the cartridge takes patience. It's more sensitive than it looks. So if you are unsure, a suspension shop can do that part for you. With everything installed, the difference on the trail is huge. The bike feels more stable, smoother, and more controlled everywhere. Small bumps disappear, the mid-stroke is stronger, and the big hits no longer throw the bike around. It finally rides the way it should. Don't subscribe to this channel, seriously. Use your energy to subscribe to Adventure North 2.0, the channel where I ride better, crash less, and somehow always nail the suspension settings on the first try. But if you want the real stuff, the mistakes, the testing, and the upgrades that actually work, you know where to find me. And if you want to see the other upgrades I've done to the 450MT, I have linked them in the description below. There's a lot more coming, so feel free to explore those if you are doing your own build. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ride safe.